this window's been ridiculous. It's been absolutely bonkers, hasn't it? They spent 1.92 billion pounds already, Premier League clubs. So it'll go through 2 billion today, which seems off the charts mental.
We keep saying, when's the bubble going to burst? It's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
There'll be so much talk today about Mo Salah because the Saudis are desperate to make a splash.
Yeah.
Difficult deal to do on the final day of the transfer window. Simon's been talking about this because Liverpool have got no time to sort of secure a replacement, but never rule anything out. Liverpool shooting down all the stories at this moment in time that are coming out of Saudi. Nothing has been tabled yet, despite a lot of hints actually from the Saudi end.
Just a question to you. What if Salah went today? Would Jurgen walk?
I don't think he'd walk. I mean, he's made it pretty plain that a decision like that to allow him to leave at this stage of the window would make him, and the quotes have come out, furious. And I can understand that because he's got no time to make a replacement. I think they're better served now than they were maybe a month ago to be able to deal with his absence. But listen, you never want to lose a player like that. You certainly don't want to lose him in these circumstances. I mean, to be honest with you, unless there is something that has already been contrived in which Saudi and Liverpool have sort of decided that if we do it on the last day, it will look okay, then there's absolutely no chance of it happening, I don't think.
Talking of Liverpool, one club who looked to be on the verge of sealing a deal on deadline day are Liverpool after they agreed a deal worth £34 million to sign midfielder Ryan Gravenberch. Is it Gravenberch or Birch?
Gravenberch, yeah.
Gravenberch from Bayern Munich. Of course, we'll talk about Bayern in a moment with the Champions League draw. The 21-year-old Netherlands international joins the German champions from Ajax last summer, but has struggled for first-team football. It became the latest member of a new-look Liverpool midfield, already bringing in Endo, of course, Alexei McAllister, and help me out here, Sam.
Dominic Szoboszlai.
Szoboszlai. Sounds like Sean Connery. Szoboszlai.
He's done well so far, I think.
Yeah, he's been all right. Do you think Liverpool have done enough this window to have a run at the title? Can they push City?
Well, it's going to be difficult for anyone to push City, isn't it? Every time I think that there's someone's going to challenge them, they just pull away. They make it look easy.
I think it's a two-horse race again. And
with Arsenal?
And it's ridiculous. It's so early. But I just feel that Arsenal get stronger. And City, I just see them again fighting out.
Well, if you think the best time to get City is at the early stage of the season when they're not up to full speed and they've won all their games. I mean, they struggled a little bit against Sheffield United. They were made to really work for that, but they were always going to win the game, and they ended up doing so. In terms of have Liverpool done enough to go for a title, Till, I'm not sure about that. It's their fourth midfield summer signing, an area that they knew they needed to bolster this summer, and they had to bolster it because they lost so many. You think they lost Fabinho, they lost Ox, they lost Henderson, they lost Keita, they lost Milner this summer. So they had a lot of players departing. Got a couple of good young players there, and I don't know what this means for them, the fact that they've signed an extra midfield player. But I think this has knock-on effects because all summer Bayern Munich have been saying Thomas Gravenberch ain't going nowhere. There's no way that he's going to leave. It's too difficult a deal to do. He's signed here for a reason, but he hasn't settled at Bayern. And as a result of that, Gravenberch, who was due last night to pass the medical and then be unveiled today after agreeing a £34 million move, he's going to need to be replaced at Bayern. And all eyes now turn to Fulham's João Palhinha. I don't know how much you've seen of him, but I think he's a terrific player. He was fantastic last season. The Fulham fans tell me he's their best midfield player since Moussa Dembele. And he's started the season well. He's been on the bench because he's been struggling with injury, but he started against Arsenal and he was absolutely terrific in that game, got the equalising goal late on. I saw him on Tuesday night down at the Cottage against Spurs. He was terrific, absolutely brilliant in a game that Fulham should have won in 90 minutes rather than just in the penalty shootout. But apparently Bayern Munich now are going to go hell for leather for him. £60 million expected to be the price.
Tottenham Munich will come back to Bayern, Manchester United, Copenhagen, Galatasaray. The group stage draw. So Harry Maguire, will he take part in that against maybe Harry Kane? So it's going to be interesting. We'll come back to it. We want to hear from you, the fans, this morning. Who are you desperate for your club to bring in before the window closes? Who can you not afford to let go? Are you happy with the business your club has done this summer or lack of? Give us a call, 03717 223344 to get involved in deadline day. Now the four English sides plus Celtic now know who they'll be facing in the groups when the Champions League gets underway. Premier League champions City have been drawn, good draw for me this, alongside RB Leipzig, Red Star Belgrade and Young Boys of Switzerland. After 20 years away from the Champions League, Newcastle have been given the group. Well, is it a group of death? I'm not sure. They'll take on PSG, Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan. Does that scare you, Newcastle fans? I think Newcastle can come through there. I do.
What a fantastic draw for Newcastle.
I think they can come through that.
Could you imagine being a Newcastle fan? You waited 20 years to get back in the Champions League, and all of a sudden you're going on trips to Dortmund, to Milan, you're going off to Paris. It's a fantastic event. I tell you what, they're going to embrace it as well. I spoke to a couple of Newcastle players after the game against City, and they were talking about the Champions League. They are just going to go for it. They're going to enjoy the experience.
Absolutely.
They're going to have fun with it. They're going to try and do their best. There'll be no disgrace if they don't get through from that group, but if they have fun doing it in terms of entertaining people, coming up with some brilliant moments, some drama, enjoying those nights at St James's Park, then I think that there'll be no disgrace in going out in the group stage. But if they get through, that'll galvanise the club as well. So look, I think it's a great draw. You can't lose. If you're already Howe, you can't lose there.
Coming up, Arsenal's ex-Arsenal David O'Leary, Kevin Campbell, the Cobra Bomb Parlour will be here sometime this morning, we hope. Arsenal in Group B, Seville, Arsenal, PSV, Lens. Group C, Napoli, Real Madrid, Braga, Union Berlin. Group D, Benfica, Inter Milan, Salzburg, Real Sociedad. Group E, Feyenoord, Atletico, Lazio and Celtic. So Celtic a trip. Brilliant. Over to Rotterdam, over to Spain and to Rome. Group F, Paris, PSG, Dortmund, Milan, Newcastle. Group G, Man City. This is a good group for City. City, Leipzig, Cravina and Young Boys of Switzerland. Group H, Barcelona, Porto, Shakhtar Donetsk and Royal Antwerp.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Alan Brazil. Thursday and Friday morning, 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.